speaking. And what I'd like to sort of encompass with the speaking, because it's the last question or the last subject that I've sort of got really, is obviously the speaking you do is incredible. For starters, I just say that. I'd like to just talk a little bit about it and some of the key topics that you cover, some of your experiences. Obviously, if someone wants to see that, they should obviously, come and see you speak, or well, under these circumstances, or something like this. But I can see obviously behind you, you've got mental resilience, you've got teamwork, you've got these incredible lessons that you've learned from all different areas of your life. And I actually had a question on here to sort of give advice to the people watching this about how to achieve their goals and things. But what I'm going to do is I'm just going to roll that into because I think you'll cover that anyway, because you obviously cover it all the time. So yeah, I mean, just talking about the speaking. Just talking about the speaking, about like just some of that aspect. I don't mind which. Again, I like a lot of the questions today. I'm not sort of narrowing it into, I'll talk about this. Just you're passionate about it, so and anything that you'd like to say about the speaking and about the lessons that you've learned, really.
Yeah, well, obviously it was something that I kind of was talked into doing, and for 2 years I was doing talks for free, and it was basically all it was really was how it started was me just telling my story, my journey, and then and that was kind of the basis of it. And it was, as I said to you before, I've got a video, it's called Bolton, that was shot in 2016, released in 2017. It's 2.5, it's by Matt Lambert. It's amazing, and it really just encompasses a little bit about my story, but it gives that message of hope. So I was going out there doing it free because I wanted to pass on the hope, as we've talked about, that hope. There is another way, there is another option. Don't give up. Your body is an amazing thing. Your mind's an amazing thing. Challenge it. And that's what my message was about. And I did a talk at the Liver buildings for the Institute of Directors. So you got talking like your multi-million-pound directors and stuff. And it was a woman who I'd worked. There you go. I'll just drop this. I was on TV. I filmed. I was on part of the groundbreaking series, The Heist, on Sky One. So if it was in the police then. Another thing, I would never have done that. And I was away filming. It was a huge success. I'm a partner in that, a name called Irene. We used to be in Merseyside Police, and in fact, we were in the police at the same time, but never come across each other, but knew of each other. So she asked me, because she wanted to be on this board to do a talk. So she said, "Will you come in and tell your story for mental resilience?" So I did my story, and we had people crying, laughing. And at the end, the head of the Institute of Directors, a guy called Dave Wafer, came up to me and he went, why aren't you doing this? Why are you doing this for free? I said, because I don't want any, I didn't ask for cancer. I just want to, get across. He goes, "Do you have a mortgage to pay for?" I was like, "Yeah." What are you working at the moment? "I'm working as a strength coalition." "What are the hours like?" "Well, I'm doing 10 hours a day." "Do you want to be doing that?" "Well, not really." Could slip back into the way it was, but I needed to because I wasn't getting that decent pay that I was in the police. He said, "Just want to put it this way. I've seen thousands of speakers. I have never seen one captivate a room like that and pull on the emotion on the string." He said, "You need to do this for a living." He said, honestly, and I was like, "All right, yeah." So he took me under his wing, and within a year, I had like Dave Bolton Inspires, the banner behind you, DB Inspires, my company. He's great at networking. He introduced me to loads of different people. So then I was attending. It was hard work. I had to set up on LinkedIn, and then slowly my talk started to transform. So then I started talking about, especially when I started getting booked by BT, Under Armour, your multi-billion-pound companies. I had a chat with him and a few others, a guy called Steve McGawley, who's a good friend of mine, who's head of liquid media marketing. And he said, "You need to start getting a take home from your stories, because they're going to watch this and go, 'Oh, that's brilliant, yeah.' And that's it. That's because it's you. You sneak." So I started then. So what I did, I do my story. I'd go through like what we've done. Obviously not as in depth, otherwise I'd be talking for about 4 hours before I got to the end. But then what I would do then is go on to say end about, I believe I'm a very mentally resilient person, and then I go, what is mental resilience? So everyone look at, and then I talk about what it is, and then it's a primary foundational physiological tool that allows us or empowers us to overcome unprecedented circumstances, change and adversity. And then I say, but can we build it? And then I talk about how you can actually, like a muscle in the body, you apply stimulus to it and it grows, but you need to grow from like different compounds. And I share, there's a guy in America who I researched, Dr. Sean Richards from UCLA, and he dedicated his whole academic life to it. And he said that you have to do it at thousands of different compounds and compartments. So I talk about 5 or 4 on a very basic level that we can do in the workplace or at home. And then depending on what company it is or what they want for it, I'll then either move into a talk like I did one for Bahrain yesterday, Starlinks. I talked about being relentless, and what it takes to be relentless, to be the top of the thing. And it's a fascinating subject that I love to talk about. But if I'm doing a sports team, I go into what it takes to get to the top, the iceberg I talk about. So it's always my story, mental resilience. Then the next part is whatever they want. So I can talk about leadership, how to create a productive team, which I did within the police, teamwork in the forces, all these experiences, everything that I've been through, this hardship, I can talk about in different things. So I've done sports teams, I've done like Morecambe, I've done Crew Alexandra, and talked about setting good habits, what it takes to get to the top, the dedication, what people see, the success, what they don't see, how you need to apply yourself, all these sort of stuff. With the leadership, it was about creating a productive team, and I used my experience of having negative bosses and sergeants and positive ones, and combining on how to create that workplace. But I put it on a business level to them. Are you a leader or your boss? Because they're two different things. A leader is someone who empowers their team, who gets the best out of them, doesn't take the credit. Where a boss is a dictator who looks after themselves. My talks can go in any different directions, and because of my experience, my life experience, and being there and done that, I can talk quite passionately about them. And I've been there; it's been a success, so I know it works.
Amazing, absolutely amazing. Well, one of the things I'm going to say here, Dave, is that is everything that I wanted to ask you, and a lot more, and a lot more, because I knew obviously this would be amazing, but it's so far exceeded any expectations that I had, that I'm just blown away by it. And obviously I'm incredibly grateful for you taking the time to do this, because more than most people how valuable time is. So I'm grateful for that. Before I sort of wrap it up, in terms of that, I just want to ask, is there anything else that you would like to say? Because of course I've sort of asked this and asked that, but I just want to make sure before we do wrap it up that you're not sort of holding on to anything, or anything that we want to say to people watching this is another one. If not,
I just think a message really is, if people are going through hard times, just stay positive. Pain, adversity, it's temporary. You will get through it. I remember just wishing, fast forward in my life, a year away, and then now looking back, it feels so long ago. But not failing, it's the wrong word, but quitting or not even attempting to fight whatever your adversity. It doesn't even have to be illness. It could be something that's going on in your life. That's temporary. You are going to get through it, but quitting or failing to even, that's permanent. That will last with you forever. But it's stay positive and keep that hope. It's the most important message. And what you've got to remember, and I'll put it out there, is don't let what happen. Time's short, massively short. We only get one go on this in this life, this crazy roller coaster we call life. It shouldn't take a seismic event like it did for me to realise that. Phone up that person you've had an argument with. Reach out, be the bigger person. Take that job, go on that, spend that money, give your kids an extra hug and squeeze tonight. Life's short. There's no respawns. There's no do-overs. There's no mulligans. This is your one shot. Make the most of it as you can. You're only ever going to regret before you go the stuff that you don't do, not the stuff that you do. But saying that, life can change in an instant. You don't know what's around the corner. As I said, I had no signs, no symptoms. I was loving life, bang, my life changed overnight. So it's important that you make the most of now, live in the present. If you're always worrying about the past, you're looking at depression. If you're worrying about the future, it's anxiety. Live in the present, live now, be grateful for everything that you have around you, for your family, for your job, and just make the most of this life. It's an incredible place. I know COVID and the news and everything, but we still live in an incredible world, and you need to make the most of it while we can.
That is amazing. It is just on so many levels. It is something I've seen so many people take things for granted and things over time.
I used to be the worst one for it.
Yeah, so likewise, I've done it too.
I'm about trivial stuff, and I think, why was I moaning about that? What, on a grand scale of things, scheme things, does it matter? No. it's.
Yeah, it puts things in
And
perspective.
another thing is, and I need to get this home, is everyone always says to me, "Oh, you're so positive, you're so positive." It's important to know that I'm not always, and you won't always be. I have days, very, very far and few between now, where I wake up and I think, I can't be bothered anymore. What's the point? You know, I just don't want to do this anymore. I can't be bothered. And I just, well, my wife knows when I'm in this mood, and I'm just like, you know, I'm having a down day. I don't want to really do anything. As long as you draw a line in the sand at the end of that day and say tomorrow's going to be a better day, that's fine. Do you know what I mean? Allow yourself those days. It's when that rolls into the next day and the next day, it's important that you speak, because it is okay not to be okay. You know, mental health's so at the forefront of everything now, and that's why I'm so open about it with mine. It's important that you ask for help and you get that early intervention in as well.
Absolutely, it is. Yeah, 100%. The thing is, even on a personal level now, never mind for people watching, you know, I'm completely, you know, you've given me so much stuff to sort of think about life and about ways of thinking and about just different. I can't even say now. I'm probably going to be thinking about it afterwards and sort of things like that. But it's in a good way. It's in completely in a good way, and it's been inspirational, and it's been just so moving, which probably doesn't show because a lot of people say I'm not very emotional or whatever, but actually some of what you've said is it's been so moving on a, and not in any type of way of, you know, feeling sorry for someone, because I don't believe in that, nothing like that at all. Actually, in the sheer, just like I said at the beginning, like the attributes you have, the tenacity, the perseverance, some of it's just, honestly, it's blown me away. I'm just rambling, but it's incredible. So what I really appreciate is I really appreciate you being so open about everything, because I know that's what you do, and I know you obviously you get up and you speak before people and you do these on Zoom. So I know you are very open, but I still want to just say I'm very grateful for that, because you know it can't be easy, you know. I mean, yeah, to talk about these things and obviously go back, and it's I know you're used to it, but it still can't be easy. So I'm, you know,
It's weird because, as you said, you're like, oh, your story's made. I don't think it is.
mm,
It's because I live it. So
yeah,
for
well,
me, it's normal. And you know, I used to say, oh, I don't, you know, I'm not an inspiration, but I get that I am. I get that now. So I don't dismiss people. I say, oh, thanks, I really appreciate that, because I know I am inspiring people to carry on. But for me, my story isn't anything special because I've lived it.
yeah.
This is normality for me, and I don't know if you can get your head around that. Like, it's just, that's
Well,
not me saying, oh yeah, it's not special. I honestly don't think it is.
I can see where you're coming from. I mean, obviously, when you know from the outside looking in, so to speak, you know, you get different perspectives on it. But I can see where you're coming from because you've experienced it directly, and because obviously a lot of it's been down to you. It's, you know, in a lot of ways to keep going and keep pushing through, because obviously no one can do, you know, could do that for you. So yeah, I get what you mean. It is still amazing, but I understand that the perspective
I,
differences. But it's, you know,
I remember
yeah,
watching with a wife last year or something. It was first date, and there was a guy on there who'd had a brain tumor, quite a bad one, and he was written off, and he'd survived. And I remember going, "How incredible was that? How incredible is he?" And my wife just looked at me and went, "Are you joking?" And I was like, "What?" And she goes, "You've been through that and more." And I was like, "Oh yeah." And that's that. I see it in other people, say they're an oh, that's incredible. Yeah, I don't see it in myself. So.
yeah. Yeah, that is amazing, actually. I don't think we do that. I don't think when we look at ourselves, we see ourselves in the same way as other people. And there is that perception that, I mean, I do remember reading this thing where they say that every person has like a different idea of you, and only you have the idea of yourself. Or, I mean, it was better than that, but I think that's true. But no, when we look at ourselves, we don't. But it's just, it is incredible. And it's not just the story, like this, the story. It is like you as an individual, and obviously the person you've become from it. Like I keep saying, I'm very, very grateful. Yeah,
She knew it was
yeah,
being a
yeah. Well, honestly, it has been amazing. I mean, I figured when I read through everything, when I first started planning the interview, I thought, okay, this might be an hour. Then when I sort of looked at it, I thought, okay, it might go hour and a half, two. It's probably going to be two. I've done one or two that have gone on a bit. Obviously, three. I think it is now, isn't it? Since yeah.
We're just getting
So,
free now.
so you know, but then that's what happens when you're passionate about something. I mean, that is what happens
Yeah,
when.
and to be honest, it's probably the longest interview I've done it. But as I say, your style, there's stuff that were popping in my head that I've never said in an interview before.
Yeah.
You're just jogging the memory as we're talking. So your style, the way it's very open and very relaxed, gets the best out of the person. You got the best out of me. So that's why it's probably gone nearly 3 hours.
Yeah, yeah. Well, thank you for that, because obviously that's quite a compliment coming from yourself. Yeah, you know, honestly, it's blown me away. I mean, it's absolutely amazing.
And speak to you as
Yeah,
well.
yeah. I mean, it's just.
I am not just saying it's probably one of the better interviews I've done. I'm very critical of myself. I always have been, and I think that's why I got the success I have. But
I appreciate it.
It's been probably one of the best interviews I've done, to be honest.
Oh, thank you. That is quite a compliment. That is quite a compliment. Well. Thank you very much for watching. Please subscribe to the Simply Inspired YouTube channel, and there'll be more videos coming soon.